Alright everyone, yet another border video. A federal judge now down in Texas has decided that the state government there doesn't have the right to arrest illegal immigrants. Nope, they're not allowed to detain them anymore. I have a feeling that Greg Abbott's going to ignore the decision and say, well, I'm going to appeal it to SCOTUS and we'll let them sort it out. And until then, I'm going to do what I fucking want because he's got a habit now of doing that. I think part of it is this. Here's some prediction. Greg Abbott believes that Donald Trump is going to be reelected. That U.S. border policy is going to very, very quickly do a 180. If Trump accomplishes literally nothing else other than ending the Biden border policies, he'll have scored a major victory in the first week of his presidency, by the way. His second term of his presidency. Well, technically third, but, you know. We'll also be talking about Viktor Orban visiting the Mar-a-Lago and the diplomatic ramifications, actually, of Trump effectively being treated as the president of the United States by multiple foreign entities. It ain't Joe Biden that they're coming to meet with now, is it? They snub him. We'll be talking about that separately. This judge is out of their gourd. Greg Abbott's just going to ignore the decision. He's already ignoring the feds when they say, well, you're not allowed to staff Eagle Pass. You're not allowed to put up border sites or activate militia or use the state guard. You're not allowed to do these things. Come on, Jack. It's our purview. Under normal circumstances, I would agree with that. The federal government is explicitly tasked with defending the U.S. external borders, both the north border and the south border. It is not currently doing that. That's the whole problem. It's not doing its job. In the absence of the federal government actually having the will and the means to do that, states have to pull their own weight. They have to. Pragmatically speaking, there's nothing else that they can do. I would think that if I was Biden, if I was competent, a competent version of Biden, I'd say, oh, well, I welcome this. The people of Texas can absorb the cost of guarding the border there, and I can divert other resources elsewhere because they're doing it them fucking selves. And Texas is a huge economy. Texas is bigger than the nation of France. If it were its own country, it would have a top-tier economy. It's highly developed. It's growing very quickly. It's got a good economy. It's got a massive military capability, not only because of the state guard there being rather beefy, but have you seen the people of Texas and all the guns they own? Yeah, 20 million guns staring across the southern border probably would do the trick. It would do better than a goddamn wall. People can't, guard every square inch of it, though, unless you want to run a lot of water shipments out there into the deserts on the western side of the state. It would be logistically a little bit difficult, although feasibly somebody like Abbott or Trump could probably pull it off. This decision is retarded because it's going to be ignored. Greg Abbott's going to shrug his shoulders, partially for political purposes, and say, look, go ahead and initiate a court case against me as I completely ignore your ruling. I've appealed it. Number one, that will happen. In fact, probably already has in the last 24 hours. And number two, the dude that's coming in next time isn't going to proceed with the case. The federal government won't even pursue the state of Texas. Nor will Texas have to continue doing what it's doing now because the federal government will finally be actually doing its fucking job. Existing law with regards to border crossings, with regards to immigration, is all that you need. But if you're incapable and at the same time unwilling to actually follow through with those laws, which are already due law, Congress passed the bills, President signed off on the bills, the law is already there, then the state of Texas, or quasi-nation at this point of Texas, has no choice. Half the governors in the United States have already signed on with Texas. They've already signed on. If you look at the list of states that are involved, were they to, decide to boycott the rest of the United States for trade and travel purposes, it would bankrupt the economy. You wouldn't have any food. Do you think that a state like Vermont or New Hampshire is food self-sufficient? I can grow all the food that I need, but it's a rather cold climate now, isn't it? Do you realize how much beef and pork is produced in the state of Texas? Or the amount of corn or soybeans or other things. All those soybeans, by the way. Hey, hipsters out there. I know you like soya and so forth. You realize that the center of the United States, all of those states having signed on with Texas, are the main soy producers in the whole world, right? That's where most of it's grown, correct? And for your bagels, where do you think the wheat is grown? Oh, in the same states, a little bit northward from there, the Dakotas and stuff like that. Or the corn. All the corn binders that go into the cheap crap, the goy slop that you eat. Where do you think that comes from? It comes from the grain belt. All of those states, again, largely having signed on with Greg Abbott, with Texas, with Donald Trump, and with trying to restore control of the border. You'd be fucked, honestly. New York City, by the way, right now, costs are swiftly rising because truckers won't take shipments to New York City. The boycott there is, by the way, seemingly working. Be a slow process as predicted. I said it wouldn't, Rome wasn't built in a day, but it's working. We'll see if people have the time to continue that long enough for it to really take effect. I side with Texas myself. I look at Texas and its policies as the legitimate policies of the whole United States. This is not an insurrection or a civil war or the Confederacy bullshit or anything like this. This is the federal government not doing what it is legally obligated to do and states deciding to do it in their name. That's all it is. The federal government is in rebellion against the law of the United States of America, currently on immigration and the U.S. border. They're in rebellion. D.C. is in rebellion. And New York City and those states, and California. They're the ones that are not following the law. Well, fucking just use the laws that are already there. That's all you have to do. With the stroke of a pen, Joe Biden can at least partially fix this problem. Musk has pointed this out. Trump has pointed this out. Abbott has pointed this out. We've pointed this out. He can do it with an executive order. He can restore Remain in Mexico. Debate the other night on Break the Rules. By the way, you should definitely check that out. Go to Break the Rules and go to the latest live feed. There, I debated Armand literally yesterday on the topic of Biden's achievements. And part of that was about the border crisis. It was a really enthralling. It was a fun debate. By the way, Armand, definitely a fun dude to debate because he's not all disrespectful or anything like that. He's wrong. Biden doesn't have any accomplishments, but he was fun to debate. Give him credit. And clankers largely, by the way, were respectful, and I did appreciate that. Because what I don't want to see over in chat while I'm debating, because I do pay attention to chat as well, especially when my opponent is talking, because it can give me tips and give me help. It's really, really great. What I don't want to see is a bunch of insults and stuff. It's not helpful to the debate. It's not helpful for Break the Rules. It's not helpful for me when I'm debating. It distracts me. So I was very, very happy about that. But this federal judge is nuts. You know that the order is going to be ignored and appealed anyway. So why even bother making the order? Texas isn't allowed to actually detain people at the border. So in other words, if the feds aren't doing their job, Texas just has to put its thumb up its ass and fucking whistle or something like that. They're not allowed to do the job that the federal government is legally obligated to do. Well, if they're not doing it, somebody's going to do it. And if the Texas government wasn't doing it, vigilantes would. That's about all. Peace out.